Hello and welcome. I'm Django, the DM Unchained, and this is Baldur's Gate 3. Finally, after 20 years, the sequel we've all been waiting for. Now, it's just come out. It's early access, so that means it's an unfinished product. There's a lot of content still to come. A lot of races, classes and subclasses not yet added. They haven't even got the full game on here yet. It's only Act 1 of the campaign. But give it time. The whole product's going to be out eventually. It's going to be great. Anyway, this first video is going to be character creation, and then following on from that, we'll be working through the campaign, or at least what there is of it so far. Without any further ado, let's get stuck into this. So, the Illithid playing a big part in this game. Already got some ominous otherworldly architecture. What's this? Getting straight into it. Why walk when you can levitate? Githyanki. They've been pushing this NPC quite prominently. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time a Gith has been a playable option in any D&D game, let alone a Baldur's Gate title. Oh, I'm getting strong alien vibes already. Everyone cocooned to the wall. An egg-like thing opening up. And a little mini facehugger. The Illithid tadpoles. Think we can guess what he's going to do with that. In through the ear. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh, look away if you don't like. Oh, if you don't like stuff in the eyes, look away. Oh, that is unpleasant. I think I might need to put a trigger warning on this. Uh-oh. I have a bad feeling it's my turn. Nope. Do not want. Get it away. Oh my god, that is horrifying. Jesus. Whew. Makes your skin crawl.
Who are you?
Who am I indeed? I'm Django. So let's start there. Now, full disclosure. Ooh, can't spell. Can't spell at all. Alright, full disclosure. I have actually already gone through the character creation to a degree, because otherwise you're going to be sat here for 50 minutes watching me go, ooh, this head or that head. So I do actually know what I'm building, and I'm going to take you through it. I think that's the best way of doing it. So, go male, partly because I like to have a balanced party, and I know that the two female NPCs, the only two female NPCs as far as I'm aware, are going to be mainstays in the party, fighter and cleric respectively. Come on, it's a given. So anyway, so we're going to go male. We are going to go Sage. It's going to give us Arcana and History proficiency. Now, race. We're going to go Tiefling, because I know the Githyanki, they're like the new race, and it would be cool to give them a spin. But I've always wanted to play a Tiefling in one of these games. They were never an option in the old Baldur's Gate because of the addition of D&D that they were. So yeah, we're going Tiefling. We're going to go as Modius Tiefling, and that'll all make sense as this process goes along. It's both, I think it's aesthetically cool, and also it does play into this build that I'm making. I did consider Drow, because apparently there's some potentially unique dialogue in encounters if you're playing a Drow, but they just don't grab me enough. I'll let my girlfriend do a playthrough, and you can have a Drow rogue. She'll go nuts over it. Okay, appearance. This is the main bit that I made notes for to speed us through. So we're going to go with. There's only two male voices.
Hells. Something just woke up down here.
Got that one.
The stone's less worn here. Recently uncovered.
And we got that one. And I'm going to go with that voice because I quite like the softly spoken aspects of it. I think it's going to play well with the overall character concept, especially, you know, we've got Sage as our background. We're going to stick with this head. I looked at the others. I'll show you the others. Got that. That one there. I do quite like that one, actually. I'm not going to lie. That. And yeah, I quite like that one. I quite like the strong jaw of it. The brow, I think it works well with the horns. And we're absolutely stuck with Horns 1 because I just love that kind of curving out sweep that they've got. There's a lot of varieties. I'll quickly take you through them. Much more straightforward. Nice little curly twisted ones. Short stubby with a bit of gold inlay, I guess. Variant on that. Yeah. I mean, it is what you see, really. Got some ram's horns, for those who like that look. More kind of jutting straight forward. And then, yeah, obviously, hornless. You still get the stumps. Anyway, we're going with those horns. I love the look of them, I love the curve. Skin tone. Now, I like red. Red's one of my favourite colours. But we're going to go with one of the chili tones, I think, because I prefer it. Go with chili tone 7. It's just a deeper, earthier red. I prefer it personally. Eye colour. What did we decide we're going to go with eye colour? That's right. So it's Demonic Yellow 1 at the moment. I'm actually going with Demonic Yellow 2. Obviously, Demonic Yellow 1... Oh, not that one. Demonic Yellow 1 is practically orange. Demonic Yellow 1 I just think stands out better. Like when you zoom out, they're just like these little beady points of yellow blazing out from his face. I like that. Hairstyles. We've got a variety of hairstyles available. Got some quite normal ones towards the latter end. Well, I say normal, if you can call that normal. But we're actually going to go back through the list into some of the more kind of Lord of the Rings. Well, I was going to say that one's more Lord of the Rings, kind of Elrond-esque hair, but no. We're going to go with, as much as I love that one, just a massive dreads. Going to go with that. I think it looks good. I think it complements the horns well. Kind of sits in the middle and sweeping back. And it's very similar to my real life hair, actually, just a bit longer. We're going to stick with the colour. No beard, because it just leaves more of the face free to play around with. I think it's a bit more expressive, and also none of the beard options really look good on a tiefling. I mean, you've got a range. You've got the kind of scraggy, building up more and more. You've got the little Machiavellian goatee. Too cheesy, sorry. Going through to a great big bushy beard. And then back through to moustache twirling. And then, yeah, no, I'm going to go no beard. I just think it looks better. We're going to stick with the... Oh, didn't mean to zoom out there. We're going to stick with the black hair. I think it contrasts well. I like to keep colour palettes limited. If you try and bring too many colours in. I was tempted by white hair. I'll show you how that looks like quickly. Because it does contrast nicely against the red skin. But, black is one of my favourite colours, along with red. And, yeah, the more colours you bring into a palette, the more confused it can look. So we're basically going with red, black and yellow. Those are our main three colours that we're going with. Tattoos. Now, again, there's a range of tattoos from simple little bits of flash on the side of your face. I quite like it's almost like energy radiating out from the eyes, but it's got a bit of an octopus feel. If I was going a great old one Warlock, it would fit, but otherwise, no, not thanks. Some elvish or dwarvish runes. You know how it is. You go and get some cool word tattooed in a foreign language, and turns out you didn't do translation properly. It actually means cake or arse, and I'm not going into battle with arse stamped on my face. This one, a bit much. I think it draws a bit too much attention. That's got too much of a wood elfy vibe for me. Again, too much. But I quite like this one. You know, I like how it highlights the eyes. I think with something like a warlock and a sorcerer, something like that, it just feels right. You know, almost this energy blazing out from the eyes. That said, we are going to go with just pure black. Like I said before, keep that colour palette limited, and I think it can be more bold. It stands out better. We're not going to go makeup, so makeup's only around the eyes, even a bit of guy liner, just because I think the tattoo's doing it for us. It's not necessary. So that's our appearance. I think it's quite striking. Quite happy with it. Again, you can see why I didn't go with the beard, because the tattoo, again, it's doing that for us. We don't need to go bearded. Anyway, class. We're gonna go Warlock. Why? You gotta go Warlock. You gotta have that Eldritch Blast, man. I'm a big fan of Eldritch Blast. We're gonna go with Fiend. The only other option at this point is Great Old One, and personally, I just prefer the Fiend's. Yeah, I prefer some spell options you get. It's a bit more destructive. and we get Dark One's Blessing. When you reduce a hostile creature to 0 hit points, you get hit points back, which is your charisma modifier plus your level. So it's not a lot, but it's a little bit. And even early on, in fact more so early on, can make a big difference. I think it's going to be useful for the sort of build that I'm ultimately going to want to go for. Ideally, I'd want to go Hexblade Warlock, but that ain't an option yet. So, for doing a kind of spell sword-esque Warlock who can mix it up at range and in melee, has a few spells to chuck around, I think this is the best way to go. So for cantrips, gotta have Eldritch Blast. That 1d10 force damage. As you level, you get more beams, it just becomes even more powerful. It's an incredible spell. We're also going to go with Blade Ward, again the other default cantrip, because it's going to give us resistance to bludgeoning, piercing and slashing. I'm not entirely sure what the duration of it. The spells are working a little bit differently in this game than they do in Standard 5th Edition. But again, although I'm not going to have a ton of hit points, it should help offset that. So as long as we're just fighting, against people using basic weapons, it's essentially doubling my hit points, because resistance means I'm going to take half damage from everything. So that's what I'm going for on cantrips. There are some other options. I could have Chill Touch, which is a nice ranged necromancy cantrip. Decent damage, but it also stops enemies from being able to regain hit points. I don't know how much that bonus effect is going to come into play. Friends, my charisma's going to be pretty good. I don't think I'm going to need the advantage, to be honest. Mage Hand, it's a very niche utility cantrip. Mind Illusion just doesn't feel right for the kind of character I'm going for. Poison Spray, same story really. And True Strike is the worst cantrip ever. I ain't going to explain why. Google it. Plenty of people explain why it's absolutely awful. It just is. Trust me. So yeah, Eldritch Blast and Blade Ward. For spells, absolutely sticking with Armour of Agathis. Spectral Frost covers me, gets me 5 temporary hit points, and it deals 5 cold damage for any creature that hits me with a melee attack. Now, you could argue that as Asmodeus Tiefling, it's more about fire and brimstone, so in some ways the cold damage seems a little bit out of place there. I don't care. 5 temporary hit points, that's actually kind of a big deal, and as I level up, and my spell slot levels up, then that's going to go up to like 10, 15, whatever. And then your attacker also taking that damage. It's a nice bonus. So absolutely going with Armour of Agathis. We're not going to take Arms of Hadar. It is a cool spell. If I was doing Great Old One, absolutely, because it very much fits in with the aesthetic, the kind of almost Cthulhu-esque aspect, these tendrils of dark energy, reaching out to sap it and drain enemies. I considered Burning Hands, because if multiple enemies getting close, it gives me something to just do a little AoE, just blast them with. Obviously there's Charm Person, Command, not really the flavour I'm going for. Expeditious Retreat, I don't think is worthwhile. Hex was a strong contender. You do an additional 1d6 damage whenever you hit something with an attack. You can also get a disadvantage on an ability check of your choosing. I don't know, even in pen and paper D&D, that bonus effect of Hex, the disadvantage on ability checks, doesn't come into play all that often because there's not a lot of things in combat that force ability checks. Saving throws, yes. Ability checks, no. And this doesn't apply to saving throws. So, not going to take Hex. At least not at this point. Maybe on a level up later. Protection for Evil and Good. Tempting, but nah. Witch Bolt is not great action economy. No, what I'm going to take... I'm a little disappointed it's not a reaction. It's a spell I've actually got to cast. Hopefully it's going to be a bonus action. It might be my action, but whatever. It does say the next time you take damage, not the next time on the next turn. So if I cast it at the start of a battle, it's just there. Basically, I'm hoping this will really synergise with the Armour of Agathis. Basically, next time I take damage, I can use my reaction to surround my attacker in hellish flames that deal 2d10 fire. Actually, I might be misunderstanding that. It says the next time you take damage, you use your reaction. Now, I might not have to actually cast it at all. It might just trigger as a reaction. I might have to cast it, and then it prepares that reaction, if that makes sense. We'll see. But basically, again, it means that it's not just melee attacks either. Armour of Agathis is specifically for melee attacks. Hellish Rebuke is anything, so even a ranged attacker will take that damage. But again, it gives me more, I think, more ability to potentially get up close, mix it up, and if I do take a hit, I'm going to be dealing quite a bit back. So you combine that with Blade Ward, Armor of Agathis. I should have a guy who can actually take a bit of a hit. This build might not work at all. I could be way off here, but I'm excited by it, and that's the important thing. I'm going to give it a try. So, that's my spells. So yeah, we are going to go in with only 10 hit points, but like I said with Blade Ward, depending on what we're against, if we're just fighting people with normal weapons, I've effectively got 20 hit points. And at level 1, that's pretty good. So anyway, that's all of our class details and spells sorted out. Skills. Now obviously I've got Arcana and History. Arcana and History from my background. Now it's defaulted me to Deception and Intimidation. I want to keep Intimidation. Useful for potentially bluffing your way out of a fight. But I'm not so sure about Deception. I tend to prefer Honesty anyway. Gets you further. So I'm actually going to forego Deception. I'm not really interested in Nature and Religion. I want Investigation. I want to be able to learn stuff about the world as we go around it, as we explore, going through a dungeon, finding stuff. I want to have the tools to learn as much as I can. Now, arguably, Religion also helps cover that, but in a toss-up between the two, I think Investigation's probably a bit broader. So between Investigation, History, and Arcana, that gives me quite a lot of scope. And because I went with Asmodeus, Tiefling, so I'm getting a boost to my Charisma, also to my Intelligence. So that should help those checks be that much more effective. So, last but not least, abilities. Now, I'd love to roll for stats, but I can't. It's making us do point buy. I'm quite happy with this array, all things considered. Obviously, Charisma is my primary attribute. I'm going to use it as my spellcasting ability. It's going to be affecting my accuracy with Eldritch Blast. It's going to be affecting stuff like spell save DC. Now, admittedly, Blade Ward, Agathis, Hellish Rebuke, spell save DC doesn't come into it, but as I level and take more spells, it's going to come into play. Intelligence is governing most of my skills, Arcana, History, and Investigation, so I want that to be pretty good as well. Constitution is important. It's important for concentration. I don't actually have any concentration spells right now, but again, once I do, it's going to come into play. It's also my hit points. If I start taking points away from my constitution, I'm going to have less hit points. And that's going to make me less effective getting and mixing it up close. Just in general, to be honest. Last thing you want to do is be standing back, chucking Eldritch Blasts out there, and some archer snipes you and takes you down in 1 or 2 hits. So we do want good constitution. Ideally, I'd like my dexterity higher, because we will be going with a dex-based melee weapon as soon as we can get one, a dagger, a short sword, a scimitar, ideally a scimitar, because they just look cool. I'd like my dexterity to be higher, because not only is it affecting my effectiveness with those weapons, it's also my initiative and my armor class. But I can't boost that any higher without really taking a hit to my other stats. And like I just explained, I'm happy with these where they are. I don't want to take wisdom any lower. Having a 10 is fine. Again, higher would be better. Wisdom saves are very common. That's why I don't want to lower it any further than I have. And I can't lower my strength anymore. Also, probably shouldn't, because there's a weird mechanic in this with disengaging, tying it in with jumping. We'll get to that. So it's a little bit boring, but I'm going to go with that standard array as it is. As things progress, obviously I'll be leveling my Charisma up at points. I'm also hopefully going to be able to up my dexterity. Not a lot, just a bit to make me somewhat more effective. So that's my guy. I know it's a little bit of a blitz run through the character creation, but do you really want to sit here and spend an hour watching me antagonise over every little detail? I don't think so. So that's not what I'm doing. There's one last bit, and that is...
Tell me, who do you dream of at night?
Who I dream of. Bit weird. I'm not too sure how this is going to come into play yet, but I'm game. Let's play along. And I did give this a bit of thought. It's going to be a tiefling. It's going to be a lady tiefling. Mephistopheles tiefling. I'm going to go with, obviously, female voices. We've got 2 to choose from again.
Hells. Something just woke up down here.
It's alright.
The stone's less worn here.
I'm going to go with that
You're
one,
covered.
personally. I don't know, I just like it. It's not the voice ideally that I'd go for, but given the options, that's what I'm taking. I'm quite happy with that head. And horns, going to go with some nice ram's horns, like them. Any watchers of Critical Role can probably figure out what I'm going for here. Well, for skin, I want to keep the blue, but I want to... This blue is just a little bit... Oh, can't get the zoom right. I'm a little bit with some of the shades. You know, you look at the little colour square here and you think, okay, right, that's the colour it's going to be. You click it and it's not quite what you thought in some cases. But we're going to go with Azure Tone 3. As you go up through the azures, it quickly becomes purple, basically. But Azure 3 is the closest I feel like I can get to a nice light blue. Now, eye colour. We were going to stick with Demonic Purple 1, I think. And hairstyle. Go with a nice little... I mean, again, I'd like more of a bob. But, oh yeah, definitely going beard. All about the beards. No. Seriously, joking aside. And for hair, again, it says it's blue. It looks kind of purple to me. Maybe it's just the lighting. But that's what we're going for. And yeah, everything else we're going to leave default because I don't even know how much this is going to come into play. I don't know how important it's going to be. But for anyone who doesn't watch Critical Role, you're probably not going to get reference here. But basically, my guy's into little blue tieflings. Anyway, that's that. That's my guy. That's my character. That's his potential love interest. I don't know. We'll see. That's the character creation video. Try to keep it short and sweet. Try to get through it quickly so that we can pick up straight away next part with the actual campaign itself. So I hope this has whet your appetite for what's to come. Please join me on this adventure into Baldur's Gate 3. Also, check out the rest of the stuff on my channel. Check out the Burning Blades playlist, where I take some of my closest friends through an actual digital pen and paper D&D campaign. We're doing Tyranny of Dragons on Roll20. Please check that out. They're amazing RPers, and I think they deserve all the attention and recognition for what they do. So go and watch that. Go and watch the next part, which should already be up, of this particular playthrough. Hope to catch you there. Have a good one. Laters. Bye bye.